Alright everyone, it's time for another happy video here, just talking about actually my Dailymotion presence. There will be two links in the description actually. The first will be to the channel itself. The second will be to the Social Blade page actually for my Dailymotion profile. I'll pin that on YouTube as well. I do ask that people join me there. Number one, it's funny because when Trump tweeted me out a few days ago, it was the Dailymotion link. Now, since then, because of the spike in views, I actually shot up, and now I'm in the top 10,000 users and fairly fast rising for view counts. Now, Dailymotion is not as competitive a platform as YouTube. In fact, it's not as competitive as BitChute. But I figured, again, as I've said maybe a dozen times now, it's important to branch out. Because at any given moment, a site can get nuked, and even if you expect the site to come back, you want your material to still be there and still be available to people. This is why I have so many video sites that I post my content on. I can't really truly ably compete on all of the video platforms I'm on. YouTube, Dailymotion, Brighteon, BitChute, Library/Odyssey, 5 different sites, as well as potentially putting my videos on Minds at some point in the future. I'm still looking into the viability there because of the number of sites. There's a reason for that. It's not because I'm trying to hyper-compete and become like, you know, Ash Ketchum and be the very best like no one ever was or something. It's more like if you get banned on one site, let's say you only have 2 sites that you operate on, and you get banned from one. Well, then you're only on a single site, you have no further backup. Then you have to go through the effort of spreading that material elsewhere. But if you're on 5 different sites, let's say one of them goes belly up. Let's say that tomorrow YouTube gets completely nuked from orbit. The Senate crushes them, and they say, well, we're sorry, we can't have YouTube. And they're just trying to put the screws to Congress or something and go dark for a week. Well, the videos are still there. Who cares? Let's say that BitChute tomorrow, Ray Vahi says, you know what, screw it, and just like pulls the plug. It wouldn't affect me. Let's say that Odyssey they get into legal trouble or something. Brighteon goes bankrupt. Any single site being lost ultimately no longer affects the material. It's too far spread at this point. And searchability certainly applies. Native audience certainly applies. Dailymotion is technically, though, a viable and competitive site. I've seen the metrics on it. It is still one of the arguably largest websites in the world. Especially for video hosting, it's technically number 2 after YouTube. Maybe not by engagement. I think BitChute at this point has more engagement than Dailymotion. Certainly the view counts that I'm seeing for even users that are considerably smaller than me would suggest that. That being said, it is a stable site, a fiscally solvent one. I believe it's based in France, which is technically helpful because if you have, it's like with BitChute being based in the UK. The UK has a lot of anti-free speech laws, but they're not the same as the US anti-free speech laws. Ultimately, insulting a US politician, nobody in the UK cares. Nobody in France cares if I weigh in on the US election and say something that a person in a certain party or ideology would dislike. And as far as the alt-tech sites, of course, they don't care about anything that's not explicitly illegal or in the case of Brighteon and BitChute, specifically obscene and pornographic. Library doesn't even care about that. Or they've alluded to caring, but, the network is separated from their ability to fully moderate it. Anyway, what I would say is this. I encourage everyone to get on Dailymotion. Again, it is viable. The only problem at the moment, actually, that I have is technically it's not with Dailymotion at all. It's with Parler, which I also use in addition to Twitter and Gab. The problem is that the links always autoplay. I realize that's annoying for Parler users who are trying to visit my channel. Out of principle, though, I'm still going to post them there because at the end of the day, it's not really my responsibility to look into the functionality of sites that I happen to use, the platforms. The people who run Parler need to tweak that. It would take them probably only it would take an hour of their time to go through the code and turn autoplay to 0 or whatever they'd have to do, I would assume, but it's not been done. Helps with views, it boosts those, but all things considered, it can still hamper things. Certainly if you want an individual with a considerable number of users following them on your platform to grow and spread the platform, you got to provide that capability. Dailymotion, though, is viable. And being in the top 10,000 users on a site, which is still, again, one of the top sites in the world, especially for video hosting, is a fairly significant thing. And because there aren't that many people, in political commentary, I mean, bothering to compete on the site, it makes it easier. there's literally no reason for me not to put the material there. And the downtime of Dailymotion is very, very slight. Their site works, I would say, relatively well also. That's about all. Peace out.